Hello and welcome to the DrivingMaul show. And boy, oh boy, what a weekend of rugby. We probably had the best round of Super Rugby ever for highlights or for clips, because there were some wonderful clips at the weekend there with funny little passes that went off someone else's hand and then went into score and silly things like that. So amazing weekend, or at least one of the games in Australia had like three or four of those ones where you watch it and they go, "What happened next?" And whatever you said wasn't what you thought wasn't actually what actually really happened. But yes, to go through all of the action is Cornflake. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Good to be back. Another week in the books, right? Another weekend of controversy, another weekend of excitement, another weekend of hating bored Italian referees and Italians going nuts as well, right? I mean, Super Rugby was fun, but boy, all the action come from the north when it comes to controversy this weekend.
Oh, it comes to controversy, yes. It's the
and angry bored Italian referees.
If it wasn't for one player, jeez, England would have won. But anyway, one big winger was the difference between the two sides with his 3 bloody tries. But anyway,
South African.
The South African, yes. So yes, we will talk about all of the Six Nations games and all of the Super Rugby games with the opening round of Super Rugby. And but we should also talk about the news, even though I've not even looked what news there is, to be honest with you.
It goes half an hour.
Well, there is that, isn't there? Yes, actually, yeah. We'll ignore the news actually because it takes us too long.
What's the news? Go on, quick news. What's the highlights? I don't have any news. What's the big? No, I've not seen any news.
I know it's obviously the mouth guard stuff. We'll sort of cover that as part of the weekend of that one. But not sure there's any real sort of rugby news per se, apart from results. In all honesty,
good. Because the action's on the field. Who cares about the off-field crap? Let's get to the real reason why we're interested in the sport is to watch the sport. The action, the excitement. Yes, come on.
Exactly. Sorry, should I? So everyone we can watch us. 8 p.m. on a Monday nights is when we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I'm guessing you found us somewhere in one of those sort of places. If you're on Facebook and YouTube, you can actually join in the live chat, as have Nocturnal and Simon. So good evening to both of you guys who have joined us, and everyone else who joins in on the live chat. Also, obviously, there was all the recordings of the videos, but you can also listen to us as you do your housework or drive in your car somewhere. As on the podcast as well with that one. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's get off with Six Nations first.
Nocturnal, please explain.
The Cornflake has a hot date when the show wraps. Really? Oh, that's because he actually thinks we're trying to speed things up. Actually, get them done on time. That's what he's saying.
I wish I'd get killed if that was the case.
Oh dear. So, and how is this for fairly unlucky when they should have got that kick? Well, yes, we will get onto that one. But first up, we had Ireland versus Wales, and if you look at the results on ESPN, you'll see it says 31-7, and lots of details around who scored for Ireland and 0 details for Wales because penalty try there, and they still can't get their computer systems to figure out that about the fact that penalty tries do exist, and they still can't cope with that. But look, this was one that we kind of expected and saw coming. But I'll be honest, I've only seen the highlights of this one. I didn't really see much point in watching a full 80 minutes. To see one try against Ireland, but I think that perhaps the scoreline was a bit harsh on Wales in this one.
I'm glad you said that because I was thinking about doing the show after watching that game, and I'm like, man, Paul's going to tell about how Ireland just smoked them. It was a waste of time. It was one-sided game, but it was far from that. It was like complete opposite. The scoreline massively was in no way a representation of how that match went. Wales played really, really well. Defensively, very, 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 very well. Attackingly, not so great, which indicates of the score in the game. But defensively, they frustrated Ireland more than I've seen Ireland frustrated against any of the other Six Nations teams so far. Just structurally staying together, shutting them out. I mean, Ireland should have scored based on the opportunities that they had in attacking areas. They should have scored twice as many points. A normal expectancy of Ireland, the way that they were playing that game. They really were on top with the ball in the right areas for so long, but Wales were just really tenacious in defence. And whatever those stats say, I mean, again, we go back to those moral victories. Wales should be holding their heads up pretty high about how they defended. Work to be done? Maybe there's now work on attack this week, right? And just try to get some points on the board. But hey, their defense, I know it doesn't look great, and they should have scored more because they had plenty of chances in Ireland's attacking areas as well. And look, if I want to put this game down to one man, I think Wales played quite well collectively overall as a team. I don't think that Costello's really their man at 10. I just don't think he offers much in terms of an attacking threat for that side at all. But Wales played pretty well all around. None of their players, the Wainwright stood out, especially for them. But if I'm going to, for one guy, definitely that I thought was amazing, and there was more for Wales I want to pinpoint out as well later on. But Tide Byrne, oh man, look, he got a yellow card. He was one of the highest scoring people in the fantasy for Ireland as well. He just, for some ridiculous reason, this man just, he's in everything. He pushes the laws right to the limit. He is physical. He is determined. He never gives a millimeter, and he's a forefront. Lucky that he didn't get that second yellow card that Ireland received, because I think he was the one that actually gave away the penalty, but it was Ryan Baird who actually got sent off. Or was it James? No, it was James Ryan in the headgear. I think there's spotted someone with a headgear that done it, and Ryan got sent off. I think it should have been Byrne that got sent off for that one as well, which would have been a little bit more interesting. But hey, he is phenomenal. And to have a guy in your second row that not only does his second row jobs really, really well, but dominates like a back rower, carries like you would expect out of a midfielder with the power, like he takes a lot of that role off an Archie sort of position. So really, really, really massive performance from him. But yeah, Wales, look, for Wales, I think there's a couple of positions they're starting to find. They've got really good players that they can build a team around. And there's a couple of positions that they've got players that aren't up to the task. And I mean, guys like Nick Tompkins, I mean, okay, I think we need to look at something else in that midfield. And then guys like Cameron Winnett, I think they've got a real star in that fullback as well as a youngster. So a lot of names, Rafael, brilliant, Wainwright, brilliant, especially. So, again, a lot of building here from Wales, and I think they can be proud of how they played, and I think they're starting to find their players as well.
Yeah, look, I was a bit surprised with Costello coming back from injury and didn't stick with Lloyd at 10 for Wales, to be honest. But whilst, look, we can say that the scoreline was harsh, and Wales were very good defensively, particularly in this. Ireland never looked like not winning it. On the flip side, right? It never looked like Wales was actually. I saw Wales cause Ireland some problems, but when 12 clean breaks by Ireland, just one by Wales. The only score that Wales have was that was a penalty try because of the dropping of the maul. Ireland short for a man for 20 minutes in that second half, and Wales couldn't take any advantage of the fact that Ireland were down to 14 men for half of the second half. Couldn't get another score on. So yes, tenacious, but also a bit toothless, or lacking execution by Wales. So I think there's a long way for them to go still. But yes, finding some layers is key for them.
If I want to pinpoint one small thing, you talk about the scoreboard. The fact that it was over an hour, it was still 17-7. And Wales had around that 55, 60 odd minute mark before Ireland scored that next try. They were really pumping hard on the line. That was a key pivotal moment of that game. If they could have got that to 17-14, I would have really liked to have seen how Ireland reacted, whether we would have seen a complete shift up to another gear from them, because they were kind of, they were in control, like you say. Like, there was no way, they didn't look like they were going to lose. But I just wonder if that game going into a a score or a lead of less than 5 or 7 for Ireland would have put the massive pressure on them and kind of forced their hand to go, hey, we got to step up here. I know what we're up against and I know what we should be doing, but we ain't doing it. But when they had that 10-point buffer, they kind of just stuck it still in cruise control. I would have liked to have seen that Welsh try, 20 minutes to go, 3-point game. We thought this morning was a bit of a shocker. That could have been right up there as well.
Yeah, and look, there's quite a few games this weekend across both tournaments where you go, yep, they've got the lead, and they're just they're seeing it home. This was kind of one of those to a degree. Obviously, a big defensive shift in that in that period you're talking about, but and then those other 2 tries then gave them the try bonus point as well, which means so far the perfect start for Ireland now with 3 wins from 3 games, 15 points from that, plus 81 points points differential, and they are looking supreme. The next best for points differential is Scotland with plus 6, which gives you an idea as to how far ahead Ireland are of the rest of the competition in this, or the rest of the teams in this competition. So yes, well done to Ireland there. Wales again, also I think set piece, sort your set piece out as well for Wales, losing 3 scrums and 2 lineouts. That's you need a platform if you're going to beat Ireland.
Can I like one last thing for Ireland on this one? And you're right. There's a lot to work on. I think Wales games like this, they're identifying a lot, which I think it's super productive for them, not only player wise but game plan wise. If anyone's learning the most, I think Wales are learning 3 times more than anyone else. But with Ireland, I mean, you mentioned that how far ahead they are, but they've just played arguably the 2 weakest sides, right, in round 2 and 3 with Italy and now Wales. So on paper, right? They were really convincing. Well, maybe it doesn't look too convincing now looking back at it with France in round 1. But at the time, it was like, whoa, Ireland look good. And now they play the 2 lesser sides. They beat Italy really comfortably, but they didn't really pump them, did they? They looked a little bit average. And against Wales, again, for them, they didn't pump them as convincingly. Sure, scoreboard looked good, but I think in their own performance in their minds, they're probably like, that wasn't our best game. Do they look, they can't really look to this tournament for a challenge for themselves. How are they going to, in your mind, set about these last couple of rounds to improve themselves? Because they can't just go into these games going, look, guys, let's just hit out and try to get 2-3 tries, like we've seen in Super Rugby, and just puddle our way forward. They want to test themselves here, and I don't think they're going to get it. Where does Ireland, do you think, get this mentally challenge themselves to better throughout the rest of the Six Nations?
Oh, damn. Because I thought the way you were starting, I'm thinking like, wow, what you mean England got a chance next round there? It was kind of where you were going with that one. Look, I think they do have...
that's what I mean, because they can get complacent.
Yeah.
So I kind of do mean that a bit. That's what I mean. They've got to mentally challenge themselves to get better. Whereas the last 2 games, sure, they've won easy, but they're kind of, they're just coasting a little bit. And it just feels, are they going to get a wake-up call from an opponent that's going to really shock them and they'll lose? Or are they going to, do you think, mentally, how can they stimulate themselves to actually find a challenge in the game to better themselves without having a shocking upset loss?
Yeah, I think Crowley, look, he's still growing into that 10 role, isn't he? Is one of the first things he did in the Ireland game was to put Johnny Sexton on the big screen as he was in the crowd. Right, so straight away it's kind of like, oh look, we found the guy, so look, he's still got to go a long way to. And in fact, I think he's never lost in an Ireland jersey or something silly like that, which is kind of crazy. And you're thinking, well, he's not going to win the next. He's not going to lose the next 2 either. Geez, how long is this run going to go for? I mean, Jason Ryan had a crazy start to his career, where I think for the first year he didn't lose a game for either Leinster or Ireland, or something stupid like that. It was like, so he went for a stupidly long amount of time in his professional career without a loss. Now, admittedly, playing for 2 of the top teams, one of the top 3 club teams in the world at the time, so basically, they were going to win all of their URC games. They would only lose potentially the final of the European Cup kind of thing, and they didn't get to face the Crusaders. And then Ireland at the time, again, one of the top 3 sides in the world, and again, not having to face South Africa or New Zealand in the Six Nations. So I guess that could be part of the problem for Crowley is what does he do when the first time they're actually under pressure? Because he's probably never faced that as an Ireland player. I'm trying to think. I can't remember who they are, where they're going this summer for their summer tour. It's down to South Africa. So boy, oh boy, he is going to get some. He's right. That's the kind of thing, and I think that's how you keep yourself mentally fresh. Is guys, we've got 2 more games, and then we go play the world champions. Then we go play the guys who we should have been beating in the final, right? We should have been there. That's what we should have been. So let's go prove that if we'd got there, we'd have won it. So I think that's how you kind of, and then the game after that is the All Blacks in the first game in November. So the next 3 games after the Six Nations are plenty to keep the players focused. And I think that's what you do. You look forward to those ones and say, right, these are the building blocks we have to put in place in these next 2 games. So that when we go to South Africa, we're ready. And when we see the All Blacks in November, we're ready. Because those are games that we want to win and show that we're the best in the world, even if we didn't turn up and do it in the actual Rugby World Cup. Moving on then, up to Murrayfield, where for the first time ever, and we are talking about the oldest and the international competition between 2 teams being well over 100 years that these guys have been playing each other, and Scotland have never won the 3 back-to-back games against England, and for the first time ever they achieved it this weekend. So again, stats and history making for you. And this is a game that England did all the playing to win. They started well. Furbank went over and scored. And then what happens? Well, this big South African winger turns up and scores a try off a scrum on halfway, which you shouldn't be giving up a try on. And then on turnover ball, runs in from halfway. And then again, when they kick, they got again another sort of broken field play where they kick and it gets charged down. So again, the kind of turnover ball goes out wide to Van der Vliet, and he scored. Not Van der Vliet, the other guy, Van der Merwe. Thank you. And he scores another one. And you're like, bloody hell! If it wasn't for him, England would have won this game. So I said well over 100 years. So yes, you're quite right. Proctor writes close to 150 years probably for that match there. And have Ireland won a series in South Africa? They've won a game, but I don't think they've won a series down there from memory. But I'm sure we'll find out. That stat will be thrown around a lot in the run up to that series. But it's only 2 games, not 3, which is interesting. Anyway,
draw.
The draw 1 each. Yeah, it could be. England all the play for Scotland to suddenly take a lead into half time, and you're like, oh geez, guys, what else can we do? And you can tell by the end of it, they were asking that question: what else can we do? We've run out of ideas. A horrible one to watch from that point of view as an England fan. Or are you going to tell me that actually England were thoroughly outplayed by the Scotland neighbours?
No, I think England should have kicked more. No.
Scotland kicked more than England, 24-32. Anyway, there you go.
Oh no, that was just a cheap dig, that one. No, I agree with you. I reckon
more drop goals.
I said it at the time when we were watching at the end, that you take away those fortuitous sort of freakish chances that Van der Merwe was incredibly, as it was, able to convert into tries out of the game. England win that one likely quite comfortably because structurally in just standard rugby play, Scotland very rarely kind of looked like they were going to actually threaten the try line. It was just those freakish sort of broken plays, off a turnover where the defence is set to attack and has to quickly switch and everyone's caught out of position and not set for defending. That's where Scotland really took their chances. And I mean, it's chances like that you can't rely on. So although it's a brilliant result for Scotland, they played outstandingly well. It was a fairly entertaining game. Scotland can't look back at this and go, poof, we played well. It's like more like, we were bloody lucky to come away with that one because, we got one chap that just had an absolute belter and brilliantly, took the chances. Hugh Jones was the one that made the ultimate break at the start, wasn't it, for that first try? So,
yeah,
it was a fortuitous game.
To be fair, it wasn't just the big winger. The other players did have decent games as well. Yeah,
he got the finishes. Yeah, but still, it was all fortuitous plays or opportunities that they took on. But it's a good match. Hey, England actually played some decent sort of rugby. Guys in the back line, minus Elliot Daly, actually, got the ball and actually looked like doing something. I think they underutilized Ollie Lawrence big time. They used him as a decoy a lot rather than actually a ball carrier. But I think a number of players made a big difference for the side. I thought Redpath made a massive difference for Scotland when he came on. His ability just not break tackles, just slither through, like we used to call Conrad Smith, the snake, he used to do a similar sort of thing. And I think it's hard not to mention it, but Fao Aboso, man. I mean, we only saw him about 8 minutes, but man, how does he not start? He would fit so well as a guy. We talked about this of Super Rugby last week, Give him the ball. He's got the acceleration. He's got the agility. He's got the power. He's got the pace to just make something happen. He can beat a guy. One-on-one, he can beat a guy. And I mean, that creates a line break, creates opportunities, startles defenses, and that's what you need. Elliot Daly just to thump the ball away. Nah, no thanks. I mean, look at guys like that and the impact they can have. Just does change up. Yeah, a good, fun, better than expected matchup. And it was good to see Scotland actually held their head a little bit. They didn't fall apart. They didn't drop off later in that game. I think both sides kept their intensity and their performance level at a minimum. They didn't drop off. They got better in patches, but they never really completely fell away from their performance level. So it was a pretty good, decent, high-quality matchup, I thought.
Yeah, look, I mean, England, their own worst enemy in this one to a certain degree. Look, 22 turnovers to 14. Scotland had 12 scrums. Now, sure, they lost 5 of them, which was appalling, but England knocked on the ball 12 times. That's criminal at this level. But they only gave up 5 penalties. Like, so many things right, and then just those turnovers and the handling, that just not looking able to look after the ball at times was what undid them in this one, because it gets those opportunities for those counter attacks by Scotland. So. But one of the things that we talked about before is that Scotland have a mental issue with a lot of teams. One of them they don't have a mental issue with is England. We talked about this coming into the game, that they've beaten England plenty of times recently. They know they can do it. Even when England got a big lead, they know that they can still come back and beat them. Right? So at no point are they going to lose their heads on again in this game. Against his opponent. Against Ireland, absolutely, they'll fall apart. Against Wales, we saw it happen, but not England, because they've got the experience against that particular team. So hence we didn't see that happen. They were happy to defend and just take the chances as they came, because they know they can win games that way against England. They don't know that against other teams. And let's be honest, Ireland aren't going to give them 22 turnovers and 12 knock-ons, right? On that one. Ross saying there, I'm enjoying the Six Nations, good balance of attacking play and defence. OMG. Yeah, look, I've enjoyed rugby a lot more this year, put bluntly, than I did last year. And I don't know if that's because the rugby has improved or whether I'm just avoiding negativity and deciding to enjoy it. I'm definitely enjoying it more. So, yeah, well done, Scotland. We've got more games to get through. And there's only so many times I can stab myself in the heart talking about it on these kind of shows.
No, I'm done. Well. Move on. No, did enough. Go Scotland. Well done. Yes. You know what? Grand Slam's dead.
For England, yes. That's the other way. It's fully alive for Ireland, and it's going and it's happening. The first time ever again for them to do back-to-back Grand Slams will happen. So more stats for you folks. France, Italy. Now, 11 minutes into this game, and you're thinking, well, this is pretty easy. 10-0 up for France, and they're coasting. And then it all goes wrong for them. They just can't score for like pretty much the next hour. I mean, they made they did get one extra penalty at some point. I think that was just after half time, wasn't it? They couldn't score again for the next half hour in the first half. They score a penalty early on in the second half, and then for the next 35 minutes, don't score again. Even with the red card in there, that is pretty criminal for a side of the quality we're talking about with France. Remember, we're talking about a side here that people were backing to win the Rugby World Cup, that I lost money on because they didn't win the Rugby World Cup last year. So to go that length of time without scoring points is just criminal for a side of this quality. Look, hat tip to Italy. I'll be honest, I've only seen the highlights, so I'm not actually seeing the full game. But hat tip to Italy. They just kept playing and kept themselves in this one. They could so easily, especially in that first, as I say, 14 minutes, whatever it was, first quarter, they could really have just gone into their shells and gone, oh God, it's another night at the office. But no, they kept on playing. Again, look, they've got their weaknesses, losing 4 of their own scrums as well. And not to be able to kick that one kick, that would have been another famous victory. But yeah, you've got to say your hat tip to them. Actually, they just kept in this one. They didn't get they didn't lose their heads against a team that everyone basically didn't give them the chance to beat.
Yeah, well, we kind of said about Italy previously, haven't we? And most of this tournament, really, they've never really completely shut up shop and fallen off their tree and just completely gone home before the game's finished. They've always kind of, whether it be their own sort of tempo or their own sort of plan they've got, that maybe aside from the game or the result, if they're getting pumped, but even against Ireland, the scoreline suggested, much like did for Wales, that they got completely tipped up and stole all their lunch money and went home with nothing in their back pocket. But they still performed, and I think developed and produced at their own sort of level, for what they can sort of look to do at a result from that. So gone are the days where they're just going to lie down and roll over for you, because for them, sure, they may lose by 30 points, but then come away with a couple of tries, or, if they can go, again, that long period where defensively they were sound and are managing to shut another team out, it's positives and plus, and it's development for their game. So I think they're actually starting to play with a little bit of a plan as to what they want to achieve from their games. And that kind of looks as to how they play as well when the match wears out. I thought, seeing that try and an early penalty go down so early, I was like, this doesn't look good. And hey, France, maybe they're back. And then maybe France are the ones that got this lunch money stolen and they went home early because, boy, something is just, who was I said that? Just not right with them. They're missing something. I don't buy into the whole, it's all Dupont. It's all about Dupont. And now they've lost Dupont. They've gone to complete shambles. It's not that. A scrum half doesn't help you line out. A scrum half doesn't help, what your outside backs do, when they're 4 or 5 passes down the line or when he's buried in a ruck. He has an impact. He has a threat. He has a way of manipulating defenders and opening for his teammates, but the talent is still vastly there. There's no shortage of talent in that team, but to just produce so little for 70 minutes of that game is almost criminal, really. It really is. And again, for me, the Italians, I talk about moral victories every time on the show. They are the ones probably absolutely distraught that they didn't come away with a 16-13 win. But man, oh man, they should be pretty damn proud of how they played. And they, much like Wales, they learn a lot. And they've got depth as well. To see a team like, they've got X and Y and Z missing, and here comes, A, B, and C, and bang, they perform. It really is a massive changer for them. So really impressed with a lot of players. Minicello, for me, coming in on that right wing, I thought he had a storming game for the Italians. And, like the usual suspects, the Capazzos as well, were outstanding. But, man, I can't put it on France, man. The red card for Downsy, that sums up his whole Six Nations, doesn't it? He's been majorly average. But, yeah, well played. Italy, France, I don't know, man. I don't know. You've got troubles, and is it personnel? Is it a game plan? I mean, it seems like it's a lot.
Yeah, and France have to go away to Wales. And Wales will be looking at this one now, going, bloody hell! Yeah. If Italy can do that, we can do something here, boys. Let's go. Now Italy have actually got a better attack than Wales, but Wales probably got better defence than Italy. So there is going to be that problem there of can Wales actually just score enough points? They can stop France from scoring points, absolutely. If Italy can keep it to 13, then I don't see why Wales should be able to do that as well. But as you say, yeah, Dante, look, and if everyone goes, oh, but it was just an accidental head clash. Sorry, we all know if you go in, if you don't bend your hips and actually go tackle and actually tackle low, then you're opening yourself up for this kind of thing. The whole point of trying to get people to tackle low is that they're trying to get the heads out of the same space, right? You have the attacker's head at one height, the defender's head at the other height, then they're not going to hit each other. And it's the defender's responsibility to get down. And he didn't. He went in high. Sure, his shoulder didn't hit or his arm didn't hit him in the head. But he went in with his head high, and that can happen. It's reckless. It's dangerous. Both of them were sparked after it. Neither of them were in a good space at all. So yeah, sorry, but no, I've got no problem with that part of refereeing. I've got no problem with most refereeing this weekend. A little bit perhaps at the end of this game, where the referee didn't keep control of France. Look, it's a penalty. You have to stand back 10 and you have to stand still. Encroaching like that and going, keep. He was more interested in keeping track of the clock than he was on what was happening on the pitch and the players, right? That clock should have been stopped or reset, and the players should have been sent back, and the guy should be allowed to take a proper run up, a proper kick within the proper time, rather than all that charging. Now, I don't know if the laws allow the referee to do that, to reset the clock and send them all back. It does allow him to potentially give a free kick. So a bit like when you take your conversion and the guy's running up, and it's like, sorry, you got in the way. You went and he gets another go. What he could have done is gone, sorry guys, you encroached. So yes, he missed that. No advantage. Have a free kick. Now, admittedly, having a free kick, they can't kick a goal again. So that would in some ways is a good thing for France, but at least it would have given them the opportunity to keep playing after that. But I suppose no one gave Italy the width of a goalpost to win a game at the end of the day. So look, Italy did well to get there, and they should have. This is one they can look at and go, we should have won. And I don't think any of us were walking into this this one. Nocturnal Right says new penalty awarded. Sorry, no, but that's not the laws, unfortunately. So the referee can't do that on that in that case.
You can't give a free kick. If you got a free kick for charging a penalty, I'm charging every penalty, because you are literally nullifying the chance of giving away 3 points to giving a team the option to kick for touch that gives you the line out. Because a free kick, you don't get a line out back or a tap.
No,
I mean I'm charging every penalty. Every single penalty, because
you're getting carded. Then you're getting carded and sent off. But
but you know what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah, that's what
I'm saying. Because you're going to nullify that 3 points. You're getting the option to trade up someone taking a penalty 3 for a free kick. That's not a fair trade. I think you should just stop. You'll bugger the hell off, or you're getting sent off. Anyone moves, it's an instant yellow. Reset the clock. Reset your kick. Start everyone from fresh. Anyone moves, literally their arse muscle, it's a card. And have another go. That water boy that was on the field, so someone mentioned that as well, or the water man, whatever the hell he was, water person. Yep. Get out of here. Literally, the game is ending in about 6 seconds. They don't need a drink. They're not going to get standing still for 6 seconds. Sorry, you can bugger off as well and reset. Or, like you said, take the kick. If it's missed or it took too long, okay, start again. Have a re-go. Free kick for me is nowhere near it at all. So, that was poor. That was probably the worst referee thing, but I feel like the Italian was a bit out of his depth too in the opening game between Ireland and Wales. I kind of feel like they assigned that game being like, who's going to get smashed the most out of Scotland and England and Ireland or Wales? Because he can't referee Italy, clearly.
Yep.
Oh, Wales won't touch Ireland. He wasn't bad, but I just feel like some calls he made, he was just struggling to keep up and struggling to make his decisions in time. He kind of looked like he's a bit rushed and just made calls, just to get a call, right? Because he knew he had to make some call. So, hey, we spoke about this in the opening game, right? How do you get experience? You play in these games. So sure, you'd only done about 6 or 8 URC games, I think, before this. So yeah, not a massive experience, but you've got to get the games to play the games. And unfortunately, he wasn't biased. I just think he missed a lot of things that maybe more experienced referee would have picked up, or he ruled them kind of a bit inconsistently with what other things he was saying. But I don't think he was biased, definitely not. So what do you say? Fairly unfair.
A question from Ross. Did the smart mouth guard register for the Italian player high tackled by Dante? I have no idea when. They're not giving us indication as to when.
They were both covered in blood. They both went off.
Sure, but but we don't know whether they went off because they're covered in blood, or if someone watched it, or we don't know what the technology said. Now look, is the technology perfect? No, it's new. Is the technology a step in the right direction? Absolutely. Will it be perfect? No. There will be issues around it and improving it, but players signing off and going, oh, what's going on, or post-match interviews of, I'm not sure we should be doing that. That it should send us off, Mr. Scott Barrett. No, except look, yes, it's for our safety. It's doing the right thing. We're heading in the right direction. There will be issues when it's happening, when it's new, and those will be ironed out. I'm fully behind these gum shields, and I think they're a good step in the right direction.
So here you go. Just if you want to be a real rule stickler, I noticed that Nocturnal asks what the actual sanction is for not standing still. So the actual laws of the game for a penalty goal, if a team indicates to the referee they intend to kick a goal, they must kick a goal, blah, 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 blah. The opposing team must stand still with their hands by their sides from the time the kicker starts to approach to kick until the ball is kicked. Further down, it does say if the opposing team infringes while the kick is being taken, but the kick is successful, the goal stands and a further penalty is not awarded. If the kick is unsuccessful, the non-offending team is awarded a penalty 10 meters in front of the original mark. That's law.
Okay. There we go. So he should have been given another shot 10 meters forward. Yep.
10 meters forward. Yep.
And he wouldn't have missed the second chance, I'm pretty sure.
No.
So yeah. So Italy hard done by there on that one.
Robbed.
But as we said before, though, if you're leaving it up to one call by the referee, you shouldn't be leaving the game up to that. So
yeah, it's Italy, though. For them to get that close was a great, you kind of feel bad because them to get in that position was a phenomenal effort, right? And you just feel like, damn, it's not like they played poorly and they escaped, and it's like, wow, you shouldn't have left it up to that. It's like, damn, you guys played really well to get to this position, and you don't deserve that, If it was the other way around, it was France that missed, you're going, well, France, come on, you should have been 20 points up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, you kind of feel a bit more sorry for it because it's Italy.
So that means the table is kind of interesting at the moment. So obviously Ireland clear with 15 points, looking perfect. Scotland in second place with 9 points, followed by England in third with 8 points. So real close there between those two, with Scotland still having to play Ireland. Well, actually both sides still having to play Ireland out of those two. France then in fourth on 6 points. And then tight at the bottom with Wales on 3 with 3 losing bonus points, and Italy on 3 with 2 points for a draw and a losing bonus point. So if you want to know what you like, Wales, how did they get 3 losing bonus points? They didn't. They got a try bonus point and 2 losing bonus points is how they've got their 3 points. Yes, they got nothing out of the Ireland game for that one penalty try.
If I can add one last thing on the Six Nations, looking at France and Wales. Just France, the problems of France, 17 points, a very lucky 20 points against Scotland, let's be honest, probably should have been 13 as well, and then 13 against Ireland. they're not scoring a stack of points, are they? Most other teams you look at through the fixtures, Scotland scoring 30s, Ireland's in the 30s quite easily. They're not up there with the good of the teams. And England, England's even scoring in the high 20s as well. So just not getting the points on the board. And when you've got, that super weapon on the wing that's not getting the ball, not getting the chances, not delivering his chances. He was amazing for Bordeaux literally a month, 6 weeks ago. And Damien Pinot, and now has even scored a try in this tournament, maybe one. It just makes you wonder what's going on, what the difference is, and why that, we talked about it pre-tournament, that Bordeaux connection between that back line isn't working the same. Why is that going so wrong? And Wales' defence against a team that struggled to make 20 points, I think they'll be happy.
Yeah, if you look at the order of the teams in this, and it totally reflects the points for. Ireland have scored 105, Scotland 73, England 64, France 50, Wales 47, Italy 37. Right, it's the order in the table is the exact same as the order of points scored, not points against, because that mixes things up. But the points for is what's deciding it. And at the end of the day, that's what we want, isn't it? Attacking teams or teams that have got a good scoring points to get rewarded and to be further up the table. So from that point of view, it's working. Not much to fix here, he says, around that side of things on Six Nations, apart from when during the year it's played. But never mind, we won't go there. And by the way, my $1 on Italy at 16-1 didn't quite come off.
Money back.
Close. Close.
Money back. Come on.
No, didn't get my money back or anything. So yeah, very close. Moving on then to the Super Rugby, and it kicked off with a cracking matchup of the Chiefs versus the Crusaders, and lots of people walking out of this one going, "Oh, it's typical. The Crusaders always start slowly," and using those kind of cliches. Now, facts for you. Stat. Here is a list of all of the opening games that the Crusaders have ever had every year. If we look at Vince Stewart, not very good there, but then again, he came 12th overall and lost his opening game.
Who is Vince Stewart?
No idea.
No, neither.
If you look at the names of the head coaches for the Crusaders, and you go, yeah, Vince Stewart, who? Wayne Smith, know him. Robbie Deans, hey, he's pretty good. Todd Blackadder, okay, recognise him, but yeah.
know the name, trash coach.
You know the name. Scott Robertson, yeah, pretty good. Rob Penny, you've got some living up to do. Let's be honest. To be in that company is pretty impressive. So Wayne Smith, three seasons, 2 wins and 1 loss, and 2 championships.
Vance Stewart, I know Vance Stewart. Yes, okay, I know
Vance
that
Stewart. Oh, sorry. There's been some autocorrect has happened in my copy and paste. Sorry, guys.
Now I'm on it.
Typing in.
So Wayne Smith, Vance Stewart. I'll take that.
2 wins, 1 loss from his starts. Robbie Deans, in his seasons, 5 wins, 4 losses. So again, slightly better than worse. Scott Robertson, 6 wins, 1 loss. Because Scott Robertson's Crusaders were such slow starters, they only ever lost 1 opening game. It's all about just that 2011 through to 2016 under Todd Blackadder. Even Todd Blackadder won his first 2 opening games in the first years, but then went 5 losses to 1 win. And everyone's building their entire thing around, the Crusaders start slowly on 6 years of their existence. Now, relatively recent 6 years, admittedly. And to be fair, in those 6 years, they did make 2 finals and 2 semi-finals. They didn't win anything, obviously, because Todd Blackadder is the worst coach ever for the Crusaders so far. But still, they did get to 2 finals in those situations. So to me, look, this idea of them being slow starters is bullshit. At the end of the day, to quote France Tomaso from the cycling podcast, which I listen to. So there we go. So let's just get that out of the way. First off, Faihaki, first half rubbish, and second half much better. Yes, I was thinking the first half, what the hell? He's having a horrible game. Then comes back and scores a try and looks really good for them. But yeah, so yeah, definitely not down to slow starters. Is my opinion on this one, Stephen.
If my maths is right, is it 13 losses and 16 wins over the 29 years? Wow. 29 years of Super Rugby. Look, he's counting.
16 wins.
Yeah.
16 wins.
13 losses? Should be right. Anyway, Chiefs, first half, brilliant, outstanding, exciting. They looked really good. But I think the Chiefs played what we kind of expected, right? They played well. And they blew. I think the big thing about this game was the Crusaders, how poor they were in that first half. And then they actually came and played in the second half, and the Chiefs were like, "Whoa, we're doing really well." It's kind of like you said before, about teams kind of getting themselves a lead and then just trying to coast home. You can't coast home against the Crusaders. I don't care what Crusaders it is. You just don't coast home, because I did find it interesting. They asked what harsh words were said at halftime for the Crusaders, and Penny goes, "Oh no, we don't say that sort of thing." But boy, I tell you what, there would have been some hard words said somewhere for those players, because that's just not what that team is. That no matter what players, there's enough of that culture left, enough of that core left to want to be what they were last season. But yeah, really good second half. I think the Chiefs have got, like, we talked about this pre-season, right? Injury concerns, long season. Already, like, I've not seen anything about Damon McKenzie yet, and I think a lot of their season is going to pivot on him. First half was good.
I was going to say that was the one that actually the second half, Damon McKenzie goes off in 44 minutes, and funnily enough, that's when they go wrong. The headline in stuff is that the Chiefs breathe sigh of relief with Damon McKenzie cleared of serious injury.
So is he out for weeks, or is he going to be fine this weekend?
I haven't actually read it yet as to what it was, but yeah. So he came off due to a rib injury, apparently, which is what happens when Levi Amua hits you. funnily enough, but yeah, Clayton Byrne, he got a good one on him, and he's hurting. No point breaking him this early. Get no shit, Sherlock. So they think it's just a bruising and nothing more. So we'll hopefully be back pretty soon, if not straight away.
I think there's a little bit more about that than just him, though. I think they lost. I think Chiefs lost direction in their attack, but I think that the Crusaders certainly showed up a lot more. But the Chiefs did lax off a bit. They just looked to roll home really with it, and I just don't think you can afford to do that. I am concerned with the Crusaders about how they're going to play. They looked very reluctant to use any sort of backline weapons, didn't they? Levi Amua, one touch in the first half, which he knocked on. Very few touches in the second half, then subbed for Ryan Crotty. I mean, this is 2024, not 2014, which is just bizarre that they think that might be their answer to the midfield, especially when you're a team trailing and you want to attack to score. You want weapons on the field. If they were leading by 10 and they had half an hour to go, I could understand a Ryan Crotty sub more, because they're going to experience defensiveness and leadership. That would I kind of get, but man, they could have done so much more with that game with the weapons they had with the Crusaders. So I kind of concerned about the game plan, the changes with the new coaching staff, and how that's going to see the team go through. But yeah, well on to the Chiefs, though. They started very hot, and that's a good way to put pressure on. And, it's easier to lead a game than it is to chase a game, because you always got that on your side and use the clock as a weapon for the opposition. So well done to the Chiefs to get the season off to a good start. And let's be honest, it needed a good game to draw attention, right? And it wasn't a great game, but I think it was good enough for people to go, okay, cool, Super Rugby's back. Yeah,
look, key moment, Dr. Oz, was Enai Sotoro's 50-22.
Oh.
Now, from memory...
No, shouldn't have counted.
Yes, I was going to say, the player was held back at that point, and I thought that they should have been a penalty to the Crusaders. So look, the Crusaders, I think the Chiefs got the rub of the green from the referee. Now, I'm not saying the referee was horrible and decided the game, but I think they had the rub of the green in this one. They're not going to win other games, because that's just how these things even themselves out over the season. I think they got a bit lucky occasionally on this one. But you got to ride your luck and make it pay for you. And they did that. So there you go. Josh Ioane was good after an early error. Yeah, we're going to. It's I'm not confident with Josh Ioane as the backup for Dan McKenzie. I think there's a massive drop off there. Perhaps one of the biggest drop offs. And then when you think that they've let go players like Bryn Gatland and Bruce Rehana have left the Chiefs, you're kind of like, that number 10 stocks, especially with Caleb Trask being out for the season already, are looking pretty thin for the Chiefs. If DMAC does have to miss a few games here and there, look, they're already missing Quinn Tapia through concussion. And it's a real bad for him because and there's a couple of players that you've got to think, geez, Quinn Tapia, look, he missed the Rugby World Cup because of injury and had a big wrote off his last season, so we'd like to see him actually have a run of games uninjured. Would be nice. Tomasi Williams as well, pulling off after having a fantastic break by the lock. So sad to see him go off, and let's hope he's not out for too long. But that's looking like a hammy or something like that. So I think one of those are the ones that you do not want to rush back from. Otherwise, you kind of just do it straight again. And maybe a lesson for him: don't try to run so hard in the loose. Right? Realize that you're good. You're good for 5 to 10 meters, and after that, just ease off a little bit. Otherwise, you might break yourself. Okay.
Don't be Italiano 2.0. Don't be that.
Yes, this is not your job. Okay, your job is in the tight stuff and for short distances, not that stuff. Let someone else do that. I'm sure they're happy for you to let someone else do that one as well.
Pass it off. Yeah. Hey, final point on this game. I think the Crusaders are going to be better for this loss, win, or whatever result it was. But much like the game plan, I'm a bit concerned about Dallas McLeod. I wasn't impressed by him at all. Didn't look like a team player as much as it's sad to kind of say that. Didn't look like a team player, didn't look like a good decision maker. But I did like what I saw from the likes of Rehana as well. I think their pack will just grow and get better. There's too much experience in that team. And it's not very often you see it and you go, the Chiefs actually getting enough ball to actually score points from their pack, because their back line was a lot better than I think than their forward pack was. So much very Chiefs-like, but the Crusaders don't write them off. That is a guarantee.
Look, David Havili could fix a lot of those problems, I think, by replacing
get McLeod out.
Get McLeod out and getting that decision making and utilising those wonderful players outside him. He'll be back soon.
Even Simu only touched the ball a couple of times, didn't he? One, he scored the try, and he only got a couple of other touches. So you can't have Almur, Reese, and stuff like that not getting good service, or not getting the service was there. They just weren't getting the ball. That was it.
Reese. Yeah, the only time he got the balls, we went to the back of the ruck and picked it up himself.
That's bad.
That's not good. It's not good. Actually, another one. Going back to that point about we didn't read the right attacks at half time. That I think shows you that the players were disappointed in themselves, right? And that actually they didn't need to have the right attack read to them because they knew that they weren't good enough. And when you've got that self-policing in a squad, that's really good and makes coaching a hell of a lot easier when you don't have to be the one shouting at them, telling you you've done something wrong. It's like, yeah, coach, sorry, we know we did it wrong. Please tell us how to fix it. Right, the way you fix it is this and this. I don't have to rip a new arsehole in you first. Before you realise you're doing it wrong. So I think that's actually a good sign for the Crusaders.
Yeah. Experience core.
Yep. Next up then, the Melbourne Rebels versus the Brumbies. Clearly not the same kind of headline act as the first game, but a lot more running rugby in this one, amazingly enough. 572 metres by the Rebels and 604 by the Brumbies. Now, admittedly, that did go along with 64 missed tackles in this game, which is a crazy number. The Brumbies, who won it, missed 42 tackles, and they still won this game 30-3. I mean, that is crazy on that one. Dr. Wright's awful game. Good was Olasio, Toole, and Kale. Look, at the end of the day, what did the Brumbies have to do? Give it to Toole twice, get a lead, and then just cruise home at the end of the day. I don't think we learned much about the Brumbies in this one, apart from the fact that they're not a killer team with the foot in the throat. Otherwise, this one would have blown right out. So the as not sure I say, Brumbies didn't actually play that well. They didn't need to. They played to the level of the opposition, right? They got themselves ahead, and then just did the Big Brother thing, hold the hand out, and Big Brother swinging away, and they go, yes, whatever, and finish it off because the Rebels, their only score was a penalty, and you're kind of like, you're so far behind already. You're taking that 3 to make sure you don't get 0, aren't you? You're not trying to get any points here. It's like, okay, we don't want to be zeroed, folks. Put it over while we've got a chance, please. So yes, Rebels. Look, everything about the moment about the Rebels is negative. Let's be honest. And I think it must be hard being a player there. So I don't think it's all on the players and all on the coaches. There's an awful lot of stuff behind the scenes, not making it easy for them. And it'd be nice to see something better from the Rebels, but with all that going on behind the scenes, I'm not sure we'll see that.
Geez, I was about to literally reading the mind of me, Simon. I was about to mention that the crowd was pretty poor in Melbourne as well, heading for the big super round there this weekend. But look, you talk about how good it was to see Lolosio playing well, and the contrast was how bad Carter Gordon was, because boy oh boy, he was really, really, really bad. And I look at that team, and I kind of mentioned it before the game. On paper, they look like they should be decent enough, but I feel so sorry. Andrew Callaway, as that game went on, Andrew Callaway did more and more, and he was getting the ball more and more and demanding the ball, because the rest of the team just weren't even making any sort of inroads or any sort of, I can't say effort because that's probably a bit too harsh, but they just didn't seem to be able to push their way through on attack or make any incisions into the defensive line at all. Whereas Callaway was. But he was very much the lone soldier out there, which is a real shame to see him. And Rob Leota, I thought Rob Leota, again, carried a lot of ball, made a lot of hard meters. But often, he makes the meter carrying 3 guys for 5, but there's no one else there with him. And so he's under pressure carrying the ball. He's under pressure at the breakdown. He's under pressure to recycle. And it's just like, man, help the guy out. You're not a bunch of slackers here. You're fully good players, but one man that did cop it, though, Jack Maunder, he copped it, man. Not a great game, but, man, the Stan Sport guys gave him absolute stick. Halftime interview telling him how he was playing poorly, not keeping up the speed of the game, should be box kicking more. And it's like, are the coaches or the commentators out here? And then literally the second half, absolutely ripping the guy to shreds. Good game or bad game. It's... Sure, criticises plays, but I don't think you really saw him out there telling how he's playing and stuff like that in a halftime interview. I thought that was a little bit too far from them there. But yeah, he was. Look, it's easy to look bad when you're in a bad team, but maybe Carter Gordon will be looking back and saying, "Hey, am I not getting the ball?" He didn't like passing long. He liked keeping short, and his work to the breakdown was a bit slow as well. So it's easy to be critical of him, but man, they really did lay into him there. On the commentary crew, which I kind of felt sorry for him, but couldn't disagree.
Yeah. So look, I think we're going to need to learn a lot more about the Brumbies over the next few weeks than this. Because a lot of us have the Brumbies down as being definitely the best team in Australia, the one Australian team that can potentially go deep into the final series. So yeah, we need to learn a lot more about them than we did in this game. Against the Rebels, because the Rebels showed us that they are a bottom 3 team, we'll see them down there, and they won't be troubling the finals at all, as they're all searching around for new contracts to sign.
And Tupou will be in the hospital. He ain't lasting the season. There's no way that guy is lasting the season.
Yeah, look, he clearly had some sort of injury and didn't want to be out there, did he? After that, he's gone like, I've got a hit. I don't want to really break myself.
Hand, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. So he really wasn't happy out there. But did continue. So we want to see a bit better from him. Now look, it's tough your first game back after a big injury. So look, I'm not going to judge him and his entire season off this one game. But it's going to be tough doing that and tough regaining your confidence in a side that's not winning, which is what he's.
For sure. I just think that his body. I just struggle to see his body holding up. It's just the last 2 years has just been such a struggle for him. It's one injury after another, and it's not him. There could be something to do with how he prepares or whatever. I don't know, but it's nothing to do with his performances. You wonder if he's going to make it.
It's not a personality point you're making. It's a physical point you're making.
Yeah, and I'm not. It's kind of upsetting to see because he's such a good player, and you want to see him out there doing, pulling his hamstring like Tamati Williams does. Runs like that. That's what we know and what we want to see from him. And it's just sad because he not only can he can't get the confidence and the fitness to get up to his good game, and he's just kind of plodding around trying to find it.
Yep. So not much to learn from that game, apart from the fact that we know that the Super Round next weekend will be a failure for as far as fans go. But I think we knew that looking at what happened last year in Melbourne. But look, the Melbourne government paid the money, and that's why they get Super Round at the end of the day, because they're willing to stump at the cash. Now, this is the typical rugby thing of short-term cash to plug holes rather than long-term planning as to how we can get actually big crowds and sell out stadiums every weekend, which is what we should be doing as the only bloody show in town in New Zealand, right? What else have you got to do on a Saturday night in Dunedin or in Hamilton? Look, there isn't a lot of other. There isn't a lot of other big shows in town, right? There's no other big sporting events to compete with. You are the big sporting event. So everybody who likes sport should be there, and you're failing to do that at the end of the day. So yes, now I admit, look, in Australia, particularly in Sydney and Melbourne, it's a bit different, right? There are other shows in town. Canberra, not so much so. Canberra's not your hip and happening place so much. I'm sorry, Simon, but Dunedin does have the Otago Nuggets later in the month. Whilst I love the work that the NBL are doing about trying to grow basketball in New Zealand, they are not a top tier competition.
They work hard though.
Super Rugby is, right? Super Rugby is one of the top domestic leagues in rugby globally. The NBL is not, right? It's not the NBA. It's not even the Australian NBL. It knows its place, right? It is a development league 3 or 4 tiers down. Well, about 3 tiers down. And they understand that, and they're happy in there, and they cut their cloth according to it, and so forth. To say they're a challenger to a Highlanders game is actually not a is not actually they shouldn't be. According to Sky, NBL games have had higher TV audiences than selected Super Rugby matches last year. Well, okay, if you're going to do a midnight game between the Force and the Rebels, of course you're going to have a better audience than that, right? I'm sorry, but yes, if you want to select Super Rugby matches, you can select Super Rugby matches that will have a low turnout. Playing games that kick off at midnight and finish at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to get a good audience for that, folks, because people are asleep, right? So look, you're going to find those, but yeah, no, the Nuggets should not be challenging the Highlanders for attendance.
They do market very well, though. The NBA markets very aggressively and very
NBL.
well. And NBL, what did I say?
NBA.
Oh, NBA. The NBL, sorry, does market very well. It pushes, right? It's out there. You know it's on. You know it's starting. You know who the teams are playing. Because they are a lower tier, they want to improve. That's what I think the problem with rugby is like, oh, we're top. You should know when the tournament's starting. You should know when your games are on. Well, I don't have to tell you. And they do really well to fill their little stadiums, and people know when they're on. They distribute tickets. They give out free tickets. It's very easy to get an NBL free ticket to a Sharks game down here. I can tell you that much for free. Businesses give them away all the time. So they market very, very, very well, and they fill stadiums. They do it well. They should be in charge of rugby.
Look, don't be wrong. I say, wonderful league, run very, very well. But it shouldn't be competing with Super Rugby. It shouldn't. Super Rugby should not be seeing it as a competitor. The Highlanders should not be worrying, oh, God, we've got a clash with Otago Nuggets this weekend. We might not get a turnout. Sorry, that should not be a concern.
Shouldn't.
It might be, unfortunately, for them, but it shouldn't be.
Shouldn't.
The Otago Nuggets
Agreed.
have maybe a 5,000 seater stadium. I mean, it's whereas Forsyth Bar is 30,000. I mean,
they cut it all down there in the open one end, so it's probably only.
Well, it should
80,
be
20.
But the size of the venue they're playing in is light years difference, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Yes. The SEN, the radio station, owned the Otago Nuggets. Oh, very interesting. But SEN unfortunately have collapsed, and they've so for those of you outside of the of New Zealand, we have one sports radio station, and that collapsed. That got shut down during COVID by the people who were they've been trying to shut it down for a while, and COVID was the excuse they used in the end. SEN. Sports Entertainment Network, which is based out of Australia, set up their own radio station here to fill that gap, and have given up and have collapsed and sold the radio station to the TAB, or the only bookie in town in New Zealand. Now the TAB used to have its own radio station, but they shut that down. So interesting that they're going back to trying to run that again. So the TAB do not have a great record of running radio stations or any kind of sports media, to be blunt. So yes, so good for them. Yeah, not easy running a sports radio station here.
Call me up.
Sorry,
I got a face for radio. They should call me up.
If you want to fill your radio from 1 o'clock in the morning till 5, we'll talk for 4 hours about sport every night if you want us to.
I can talk to myself for hours and someone else. Yeah. Yeah. What did we did about 5 hours on a Saturday night, didn't we?
We did actually. Yes. So folks, if you are looking for someone to accompany you to watch your rugby at the weekends, then check out Cornflake's channel. I'll be popping on for as many as I can. So I was supposed to pop on for the England-Scotland game, but I just wasn't awake enough to talk. So sorry about that, folks. But we did do the Chiefs Crusaders game and the Rebels the Brumbies game. But then decided, that we weren't going to bother with the Hurricanes. It's the Hurricanes game.
No, we did the other ones round. We did the Reds and the Waratahs, and we did the Highlanders and Moana.
Oh, sorry. Yes, we did Saturday, not Friday. My bad.
Yes, we did. Doing Six Nations for sure, Simon. Yeah, we did. Yeah, did Saturday night games this weekend, just gone. So yeah, we'll be doing at least one night each weekend of Super Rugby. With Six Nations not on this weekend, we might be doing some more. We'll see. But yeah, Six Nations is 3 a.m. They're the hard ones.
Yeah. I've got my daughters this weekend, so unfortunately that might get in my way. Anyway, next up, Western Forces, the Hurricanes. Again, one that this another one that kicks off midnight. Knew what was going to happen, and therefore watched highlights. Didn't actually watch this one. Now, again, this is one that Conflict, you said that the 14-44 scoreline didn't perhaps do the game justice. But if you're going to lose 6 lineouts out of 18, or a third of your lineouts, which the Force did, with no platform, you're not going to score points, surely.
I don't know if it didn't do the justice in the way that the Force, I think, stuck around in that game. So they were gone, right? Game was over, they were gone pretty early on out of this matchup. But I was just impressed with the way they actually stuck around and fought back and got those couple of tries at the end of the game. Sure, didn't make it any more respectable, but just not giving up was what impressed me, especially after watching the Rebels, right, a few hours earlier, and how bad they were and really not even looking like scoring. It was nice to see that the Western Force actually had a little bit about them, that they could actually get involved, get some points, get some tries, give themselves a little bit of self-belief. Not the result they wanted, not the night they wanted. They were outplayed. I mean, the Hurricanes were really, really good. And much like I said earlier, it was a game like a lot of these games where the better team didn't show that ruthlessness to demolish the opposition. They just got out, impressed, got a good lead, and then did the big brother thing and just told them to just calm down, have a little chocolate milk and just take it easy for the rest of the game. But the Western Force didn't do that. So, that's why I was quite happy. Good to see the Grandpa Chase Tiatia is still, he's not as fast as he used to be, but still good. And Jordi Villion, man, a bit of a surprise to see him start in at number 9, but looked pretty good and actually supported well for his try. Got around the park nicely. Another nice looking early days, but a little number 9 option from him there as well. But yeah, the Hurricanes were good, did what you expected, got the lead, and Kenny Naholo is an absolute, a behemoth and beast. Doesn't do the size of that man anymore. I was shocked at how huge he was. Just the bulkiness of the guy. He makes Almua look small. So I'm looking forward to how devastating he's going to be this season. But yeah, Western Force are all right. I think they'll beat the Rebels. They got a few little things about them, a little bit of experience. I think Nick White looks like he wants to lead their team. He looks like he wants to force the players into, getting a bit of professionalism, getting that old man who's going to tell the young guys off and force them to play how they want to play their game. So, a few little pluses for the Western Force, a couple of tries. Beat the Rebels. That's number one priority, as it has been since they got kicked out.
Yeah, look, I mean, they clearly Twiggy's gone shopping.
Huge.
Brought himself Nick White, Ben Donaldson, Hamish Stewart, has given you that that kind of that 3-quarter line to control the game there. So yeah, they shouldn't. They should have enough experience there to lead and basically start the growth of a more homemade team. Hopefully, if we're looking for longer term. Look, Kenny Naholo is. I remember watching him down in the preseason game for Taranaki and seeing him finish the game in a moon boot. Unfortunately, and that's been his big Achilles heel, or as it were, well, not necessarily literally Achilles heel, but that's been his problem for the past few seasons, where he's bounced around the Chiefs and the Crusaders. Is he just can't stay fit. He's just, and hopefully he's got the balance of power and conditioning right this year, so that actually he does stay, that he actually can stay fit and doesn't just break. Unfortunately, it's been his problem. But I thought from the highlights at least, Morby looked like the better of the two of them. Got himself a try and got to put himself about. So when you have a bench that includes Rackety Stones, Lomax, Iossi, Roy Card, Ryasi, you don't have to worry about the last 20 minutes, right? You've got guys who are going to come on and, as Ryasi did, score tries and just look after you. You don't have to. You're not going to have a drop off, which some of these teams, like your Western Forces, your Rebels, your Moana Pacificas, will do. The Hurricanes are not going to, if that's the kind of bench they're going to be running. So, yes, I think we both were kind of negative about their possibilities this season. And the Hurricanes didn't really see them doing, obviously making the finals and stuff, but not making the final, or not really having a chance of making the final. Now, should we read too much into this one? Probably not, because I was about to, wasn't I? Let's be honest, I was about to go, hey, look, they could be finalists. Don't get carried away, folks, just like I very nearly did there. Wait till the Hurricanes have some more stronger opposition. Look, the Force missed 40 tackles in this game. So, yes, they kept trying, but unfortunately, the trying wasn't good enough to really test this team. And we'll see what the Hurricanes have got in the coming weeks.
And getting a yellow card so early in the game, too, from Mr. Magic Potter certainly didn't help. 3 minutes in getting a yellow card when you're, the underdog so heavily already. If they could have kicked 15 men on the field, it's probably goal number one, right? Give yourself the best chance. Two yellow cards, one at the start of the game and one not far after half time. No, not
Oh,
great.
my word. Hi, boys. Right. This weekend, our main goal is keeping 15 players on the pitch. Hey, boy, low expectations there.
I mean, it's the Rebels, though. Literally, for me, if I was going to training, that would be it. It's the Rebels. Sure, it's in Melbourne, but look, we should be wanting to win this game. This should be number one, tick of that calendar, win. If you ain't got 15 men on the field, that's going to become quite hard. So keep 15 guys on the field. I think the rest of the, platform may be there for them. I think they look better than the Rebels.
So over the next 3 weeks, we'll learn more about the Hurricanes. So they've got the Reds, the Blues, and then the Crusaders. After that Crusaders game, we'll have a pretty good idea as to where the Hurricanes stand. I think
Reds will be good.
Yes, in front of an empty crowd. You'll be able to hear all the calls by the players. That's one of the benefits of playing Super Round. That's harsh, isn't it? Dear me. Anyway, next up, Blues versus the Fijian and Drua. Now, look, first thing to say, Blues, why have you taken so long to go back up to Whangarei? Go up there. They want to see games. They never see games. And as we know, if something has rarity and scarcity, people want to have it, and hence they turn up and you have a good atmosphere, and especially in an appropriately sized stadium, which they've got up there in Whangarei. So head up there, get a good atmosphere, and it'll look much better and sound much better on the telly. Hint,
Yes.
hint. So up there, and you caught the first half, I caught the second half of this one, and by the time I was watching it, it was effectively over. 29-3 at half time. The Blues put this one to bed by half time, didn't they?
Yeah, this was much like the Hurricanes game, really, in the way that these two, it's that the Blues played the game, started fairly well, a couple of tries 3 tries in the first 20 minutes. They were well on their way. What disappointed me with the Drua, though, they just didn't seem to be able to capitalize on their opportunities. That was the biggest disappointment from this team. We know they got the weapons. We know they got the players. They got that continuity this season as well. Not too many changes like other sides have had. You look at the stats for the game as well. They had the opportunities. They were pretty up there with their possession and their territory. They just couldn't put the ball over the line. And they had, of course, the yellow card to Finney Christie in that first half as well. If anything, to me, this has made the Blues look slightly better. I thought they were going to not struggle with this game, but I thought the Drua would have put up a bit more of a fight against them. I thought they would have, not defensively, but I thought, we would have had a real high-scoring game with both sides wanting to run and play. And we certainly saw the breaks. We certainly saw the opportunities. But for the Drua, we just didn't see the finishing touches, which is a shame. And hopefully they do clean that up in the coming weeks for that side. So that's my biggest takeaway from that. I think the Blues just cruised. Concern, Perifeta goal kicking. I mean, what the hell happened there? I still have troubles, with the Plumbers, with the Perifetas. And it's been issues that have been there forever, right? But they got a lot of standouts, right? Your Sullivans certainly looked really, really good in that game. And we saw quite a lot of bump and runs and the big boys doing some work as well. So Tutus and Papali'is getting tries. So, yeah, the Blues did what they wanted to do. I want to say I look at that game and go, they impressed me more than I thought they would have. So I kind of would put them up in my expectations, especially next weekend. Well, for this weekend now, it's Monday, isn't it? Yeah.
So question marks around set piece, right? Against the Fiji and Drua, you shouldn't be losing 6 out of 13 scrums, right? You should be scrummaging better than that. You should not be worried about that. You shouldn't be losing 3 out of 13 lineouts. So I think against the Fijian and Drua, they got away with it. But that kind of platform, that kind of set piece, I really don't think is going to be good enough for this Blues team going forward. So they need to sort that out. And as you say, Perifeta's goal kicking. Those are my 2 worries for the Blues. Other than that, yeah, looking quite good. Sure, you've keyed in on the Harry Plumbers and stuff, but look, what do you want Harry Plumbers to do? All I wanted to do is to catch it, draw a player, and pass. Give it to Rico Wani, give it to Mark Falia, give it to Caleb Clark, give it to Zan Sullivan. Give it to somebody else. That's Plumbers' job. Give it to someone else and tackle. Right, that's all he has to do. Maybe the occasional kick, but we don't need him to be an exciting player. They've got plenty of excitement outside him. He just has to give it to them. He just has to be steady, not drop the ball, to hold there, catch and pass, and tackle players. That's all the Blues need out of a 12. They don't need to have a Geordie Barrett or anyone like that, because they've got such good weapons outside him. So just ship it, mate. Draw and pass. That's all you have to do. And a guy of his experience, the amount of time he spent playing at NPC and now Super Rugby level, he should be able to do that. Yes, he takes a lot of flack. Just get rid of the ball and let other people, let the players make the plays, because they will do. There's plenty around him.
I do think that the Blues, like you say about the set piece, I think that they're good enough to get away with that against 85% of the teams. What the Brumbies might punish you. The Chiefs and the Crusaders will probably punish you. You could probably, I think, you get away with the Hurricanes. Maybe, like I still think we need to see them a bit more. Maybe the Highlanders, I think you'll get away with it. But the rest of the team, Moana, Rebels, Force, Reds, Waratahs, but I think you'll get away. They're good enough to get away with that. So that aside, they've got a long time to clean that up before we get to potential semi-finals.
Sure. Look, I think the Hurricanes. Look, against Hurricanes, they're going to score points, right? So, so you've got to give yourself a platform to score some points yourself as well. So I think so yes, it could be against them, but other teams, they'll be fine. But at the end of the day, this competition, let's remember, folks, is about 3 games. The first 16 or whatever it is games of round robin don't matter too much, right? You're going to win enough to get in the top 8. Now, you'd like to win more than you lose because then you end up getting a home quarterfinal, home semi-final maybe. But at the end of the day, it's winning those last 3 games that matter. This stuff is fun to watch, but on the whole, it doesn't matter too much because you're going to get into the finals anyway. After that, what are we up to? What's up to next? We've gone blank.
Mighty Highlanders, we've got 2 left.
Oh, yes. Which is good because we're only an hour and 20 minutes over time already.
Standard.
Highlanders, Moana, Pacifica. Now, we've been talking about moral victories in this one, or Stephen has. And this one is definitely a moral defeat, a moral loss for the Highlanders. Brumbies beat the Rebels 3-30. The Hurricanes put away the Force 14-44. Highlanders, 35, so less points than the Hurricanes. 21 by the by Moana Pacifica. Highlanders, your defence needs to be a lot better. Well, tell rights, Highlanders are on the board. They are, but not much more than that, to be honest with you. I don't think.
Look, expectations and results, okay? Deliverance on expectations. What are expectations? Beat those 4 teams. Beat Moana, beat the Force, beat the Rebels, and beat that other, the Waratahs. Waratahs or the Reds. The draw, yeah. But, beat 5 of those. Hey, let's be optimistic. Beat those 5. I don't really care. Yeah. Would you call it a moral loss for the Highlanders or a really big moral victory for Moana? I think the Highlanders will be happy.
Look at the spin doctor. Look at the spin doctor coming out.
The Highlanders typically struggle to... Look, if this was 2 seasons ago, I believe this game would have been 24-17. I think the Highlanders are getting better at actually scoring points at the possible sacrifice of their defence. And Moana have shown, I think for them, they've actually proven that they are better than we expected they were going to be, right? They're a lot better than we expected they're going to be. I thought, I agree. Highlanders will look at this and say they weren't as good as they should have been, definitely. But they got the win. So that is number 1 priority. They're on the board. And that to me is what matters the most to them. But yeah, Moana looked really, really good. I was impressed by them. I think they were a bit not lost, but I think their initial game plan and how they wanted to play didn't work. And they adjusted really well. They looked to other avenues and other paths and other tactical ways to play their game. And I thought they adjusted really, really well. I think they lost their way a bit when they lost Danny Tuala for that 10 minutes. But they certainly, when he come back, things adjusted themselves and they got back on their horse very, very quickly. So a number of players today, I think having an experienced number 9 for that, I think Anade was really, really key for them. When they worked out how they wanted to use Julian Salvia, he was key for them. And I thought the finishers, the Wongs and Tualas, they were pretty strong as well throughout. And Anisi, the blonde-headed number 8, what a player. A great little player, really, really good. And for the Highlanders side of things,
hang on. That's a good. I mean, hair. This is now we're into important topics. Blonde? No. I think that's clearly bleached. That's bleached white. That's not natural blonde anyway. But anyway, move on. I'll yes.
On the Highlanders side though, the 10-10 combination of Patchell and Gilbert worked really, really well. Having 2 number 10s, who needs an inside centre? No one. Just play with 2 10s. I think Gilbert's going to be he's going to be literally up there with at the end of his career with the Highlanders as a bit of a club legend because he's already been there a few years. He's really starting to build in his role and his responsibilities in this team, he's becoming a real key cog into how this team operates. And he's not out and out best player that's going to be playing internationally. It's almost like at this stage, his focus and his career dedication is making the Highlanders become better. And the way he's playing, it's like that's his real target is to develop that way as well. And now he's got some weapons, right? And the back three of the Highlanders, outside of Nareki kicking what felt like every time he touched the ball, I thought he used them really, really well. So, I was pleased. I thought Sean Withy was really good as well. Henry Bell, another youngster, hooker, was really, really good too. So I was impressed to see those guys, and I thought they played really good. But again, like everyone, a lot to work on. But I think most priority importance was getting the win. And hey, they got put under a bit of pressure, and they responded enough. Just.
Gilbert is on the All Blacks radar with New Zealand 15 selection, says Nocturnal.
No, leave him alone.
Hang on, no. Let's not oversell things here, guys. All Blacks radar? No, Gilbert is not on the All Blacks radar. As far as making an All Blacks squad, no, sorry. But no, interesting. You think he could be like the next Marty Banks kind of style thing? Yeah, not someone who's going to make it to the next level, but someone who's going to be a club stalwart who can be a bit of a
really good at Super Rugby level, but never kind of pushes on. I think Sean Stevenson is at that stage right now, right? James Lowe, dare I say it?
And look, we've got talking about Neepkins there as looking really good. We've got a couple of really, really hot 15s around at the moment with him, Zahn Sullivan as well. It's going to be really interesting to see which direction the All Blacks go with their 15.
Ruben Love, if he's a 15.
Sorry? Who?
Ruben Love, if he's a 15.
Yeah, well, yep, maybe as well, yep. But with Ruben Love, you're going for a bit more of what we've had before in the fact of 2 10s, right? Because he can play 10 as well. Whereas your Zahn Sullivan's, gone on.
Oh,
I had it on Saturday.
He's been practicing all weekend.
Neepkins. Look, those guys are not so much. Yeah, I mean, I think Zahn Sullivan can play 10, but they're much more of the attacking, running 15 rather than the playmaking 15. So, what style will they go for? Because essentially, the last 4 years, the All Blacks have not had a 15. They've had another 10 in there
since Ben Smith.
Since Ben Smith, basically, yeah. So hence why Jordan hasn't been playing 15. So and with him injured now at the beginning of the All Blacks campaign, what route will Scott Robertson go? Will he go for a 15-15, or will he go, or does he want that second playmaker at 15? That's going to be really interesting, because to me, I really think with Geordie Barrett at 12, you've got your second playmaker. You've got a guy who can play 10 there. Now he's not a first choice 10, but you've got your second playmaker already. You don't need that second playmaker at 15. So it's going to be really interesting to see how do they want to use Geordie as a second playmaker, or as a or a bit more crash ball power runner. And then what you can do is, and what you want, that allows you to, if you use him as a second playmaker, what you do at 15. But anyway, we should really be talking about the game that actually happened rather than imaginary games in 6 months' time. Problems for the Highlanders, set piece again. Another bit like the Blues. They lost 4 of their 10 scrums. They lost 3 of their 12 lineouts. You shouldn't be doing that against Moana Pacifica. But I totally agree with you. Moana Pacifica, way better than we were expecting.
Yeah,
way better. Really structured. You could see that they knew how they wanted to play. That there was a structure there. They knew what they were doing. It wasn't a matter of let's just let's have a kind of a vague structure and rely on a Levi Amua to get us across the line, or a Thomas Tamanai to make a break. They're not trying to. This team is not trying to rely on players' individual brilliance to make something happen. It's like, right, guys, this is the structure of how we play, and which is so against the Pacifica way, as he says with his quotes there. Yes, they're not trying to play 7s. They're trying to try to play 15s, which is good to see. So to me, that was great. Only 5 penalties again. The Moana gave up. So discipline and having structure. These are the things that people will say, oh, that's not how Islanders play rugby. Hell, it is when they're playing it well. Because once you've got a structure, you can play off that and then you can do the fun stuff. But you have to have that structure, that platform to do it. Tana Umaga, has come in this after a mixed coaching record. Really good with Cairns Manukau. A bit hot and cold with the Blues. But Tom Coventry in there. And you've also got the Welsh guy. I've gone blank.
Petchel.
No, not Patchell. No, the Welsh coach that's with the, isn't it Welsh coach? I think with Wine Pacifica.
Oh, Stephen Jones.
Yeah, Stephen Jones. Now look, Stephen Jones had time with the Crusaders, right? He's learned a few things on how to coach before COVID. Also, he went back to Wales. So look, some smart coaching signings there with that. So maybe that it wasn't that it was good to change the coaching setup. I thought it was a bit harsh on the previous coaching setup, but maybe they weren't delivering. But then again, they were building something from nothing. At least these guys have got something now. Admittedly, also it looks like Martin are throwing out part of the structure by playing all over the place and having to move their games from North Harbour Stadium because the turf's no good to play in Hamilton, which is another change. But anyway, aside from their off-field issues, looking really good on field. Now, do I expect them to make the top 8 and make playoffs? No, we're not. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But we're looking at a team that actually that you're going to have to play to beat them, right? You're going to have to turn up, and that's a good thing here. You get to score your points, and that's stage 1 for Moana Pacifica, right? They're a new franchise again. They've had 20 changes in this squad. It's a brand new squad. Make yourself difficult to beat. And then you can start and go and move on from there to actually think about start winning games. So yeah, really impressed by their opening game, and let's hope it's not a flash in the pan.
Indeed.
The way to finish things off, state of origin, as it were, with the Weds hosting the Waratahs. The Reds hosting the Waratahs. In this last one, and we've talked about so much rugby, I've totally forgotten what happened here on this one. But quickly reminding myself, 21-15 at half time. So look, the Reds just about keeping themselves in touch, but a yellow card on half time saw really the Reds sort of pull away after that at the beginning of the second half, and the Waratahs just not being able to keep up.
We talked a lot about this game while we're watching this one, about how the first half was structured, close, tense, sort of rugby game. And the second half was as if they've gone, stuff that, on board of that now. We want to play something fun and exciting. And they just went out and tried to razzle and dazzle. And the Reds kind of excelled at that sort of style of game. And they took it completely in their control. But this game, no one individually as a squad was outstanding. I thought both of these teams played a lot better than I was expecting. The Reds, losing a lot of players and having a lot of changes, I thought may fall off of what we've seen them in the past. And the Waratahs always concern me because historically they've been very average in the last few years of Super Rugby. So for them to come out short, scoreline again doesn't look great, but we've seen some, I think, really good performances from both of these sides. Again, for me, all of these Australian performances over the weekend, especially like this game between the Reds and the Waratahs, and what we've seen from the Brumbies and what we've seen from the Rebels as well, I was looking at the number 10s because all of those sides have a pretty potentially a Wallaby number 10 in their midst. So Lolosio impressed me a lot. Carter Gordon went straight to the skip bin. But here, I thought Edmund and Liner were really, really good. I thought they both stood up. They had really, really good matches. So 3 out of 4 for Australia looked quite impressive. And then, you spoke at the start about the excitement of this game. And we saw a 10 or 15-minute period, didn't we, in the second half of this match that just, I think, was the best 15 minutes of the Super Rugby weekend. So it was really good to see a lot of standouts. And both sides impressed me massively. And a lot of good names standing up. The Reds pack played really, really well, despite my reservations about how they combined together. But they stood up pretty well, and they hardworking, which I was impressed to see.
Yeah, with the new coaches, they did turn. They especially at the Reds. Look, they did. I say it went in tight at half time. 21. It was pretty close, and then they pulled it away. In the second half, they dominated possession. 61% possession, 54% territory. In the first half, they had less possession but more territory. And I think that's probably that switch there of like, we can hold on to the ball and go through phases against this team, guys. You don't need to kick it away all the time on those things, and that and then the points that means you score points that the opposition can't because they don't have the ball. Now there were a few freaky tries in this one which were kind of fun passes where the opposition then batted the ball back to the person who actually just passed the ball and caught it and then went on to score and things like that. This one is worth what if you're going to watch it. If you're going to watch highlights from one game this weekend, watch highlights from this one because they're funky highlights. If you're going to watch a full game, I'm not sure this is one to go back and watch the full game of, but from a highlights perspective, definitely go watch this one because it's great fun if you haven't seen it already.
John Patai's big volley kick as well. That was a standout high. That was incredible. The distance he got on that was just skill, man. He can be hot and cold like a tap, but boy, he can be good.
And then we also had this was one where we also had the was it the lock or the back rower who kicked and then outran the
tip and chase. That was Kale at the Brumbies.
Oh, I forgot the Brumbies. Oh, bollocks! Damn, yes, that was. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, that was Kale at the Brumbies. Geez, we should have mentioned that about Kale because that was an incredible cracking try as well. So,
I think this one of the three things. It was the between the legs pass from the number 8 off the scrum.
Oh yeah, that was good.
To score, and then it was the tap back, or was it a big? It was a big volley, and then it was the tap back.
The volley
back to the try, and the 10-50. It was like incredible.
Yep. So some the kind of we're a bit like Dana White on the outside of outside UFC ring. Go whoa! Yeah. At places it was in this game it was it was good because this was last game of the weekend. Where I think you might. I don't know if you went on to do France Italy after this, but. We've watched a lot of rugby by this stage, kind of going, oh my god, geez, another game. And I was like, whoa, yes, brilliant. Keep throwing it at us, crack addicts, please. Just punch it straight into our veins. It's brilliant. So yes,
a good way to end the weekend.
Yes, exactly. And as I say, tactically, I think perhaps better. The Reds coaches showed themselves at halftime, whereas the New South Wales or the Waratahs ones didn't. Interesting in the chat there, the fact that New South Wales head coaches are under pressure that they might lose their jobs early. It's like Jesus Christ, guys! It's game 1 of the season. Seriously? But yeah, you don't want to be. No, I'm sorry, but you don't go around sacking coaches this early on that one. So. Give them at least a try. Also, who the hell are you going to find at this time of the season to replace them? Right? It's going to be a oh shit, who's available appointment that you sign up for 4 years or 2 or 3 years, and guess what? In another season's time, you're sacking them again. So no, give these guys a chance. Look, this is not like the English Premiership, right? You're not getting relegated and you're not losing lots of cash, right? So stick with these guys, give them a chance. And if you think towards the end of the season it's going wrong, then sort things out in the off season. Don't pull the trigger mid-season on you don't need that in Super Rugby. I'm sorry, it's not the kind of it's not the league that you need to be doing that kind of stuff in, and you're not going to get a good result long term if you do that, in my opinion.
End of the season, at least I agree. Yeah, Simon says the same. Yep. Yeah. Eddie Jones wants something to do before he starts international duty, maybe.
Sack Cole next week and bring Eddie Jones in. Yeah, absolutely. He does a great smash and grab job, doesn't he? Dearing me. I mean, the most successful team in this competition is just starting on their 5th coach, right? In the Crusaders. Now, their first coach only lasted 1 season, which means look how long the other 3 did. I mean. Actually, is it 3 or 4? Oh, sorry, 4. Actually, so they're on the 6th coach now. But even so, yeah, Wayne Smith only got 3 years. But your Robbie Deans, Blackadder, Razor, look, they all got serious time, and Blackadder, yeah, that's what he wasn't successful. He didn't win championships. which you should be doing at the Crusaders at the end of the day. So
and left on their own terms as well, didn't they? They all left on their own terms.
Oh yeah, true.
I could be wrong, but yeah, Dean's left. Blackadder left. Yeah,
I think they had enough of Blackadder. To be honest, I would have had enough of Blackadder by that stage.
He jumped when he was being pushed, but yeah, probably given the option, it's like go to the end of the season or you're gone.
Yeah. So look, I think look, decent start to Super Rugby. Now, I'm not going to say suddenly, wow, the crowds are going to come flocking back, right? I think there are serious issues with how the game's promoted. But as far as on-field content, decent. Enjoyed it. Had a good weekend. Had a fun weekend. The problem is with the on-field content, stop fucking around with the laws, right? We didn't. Now look, we didn't end up with kick tennis. Well done, guys, on that one, right? A good little change there. That worked. Yes, we had a bit of controversy around the gum shields. We've already talked about that. Let's try and talk about something else, please. Let's not focus on something that's trying to keep these guys from from being brain dead in 10 years' time. And let's focus on what the fun things that happened this weekend, because there's some great tries, some close games, some not so close games as well. That's cool. Not every game's going to be close, but we had a couple of close ones, and some fun plays. So I enjoyed it.
You know what? I feel like Super Rugby was a bit tame. Not tame on the action, but tame on the way it was officiated. I don't think it was as strict, I think, as we've seen in Six Nations. I know I'm not criticizing. I kind of liked it. I've seen a lot of things we saw where we were like, oh, that's a yellow, cut and dry. You know, he's touching here on his head, he's gone. And it sometimes wasn't even a penalty, right? So,
true.
I feel like they weren't as strict, which, okay, I can live with. You know, we spoke about on stream that Super Rugby has this persona that it wants to be the fun, the exciting, the fast, the unbelievable, the miraculous, the amazing. And I kind of feel that goes hand in hand. Sure, is going to get a bit of criticism, but I think that sort of stuff does allow the game to be playing a bit more. But you just got to make sure it's in check, right, and not gets out of hand. So it can be a bit of a two-bladed sword there, but you know, from the way it went, nice and fun, nice and interesting. And one thing I think we did fail to mention, and I can't remember what game it was in, but the not straight feed to the scrum that got penalised. Boy, the sharp-eyed, I just thought about it then. There was it wasn't the game I watched with you, obviously. I feel like it was the Six Nations. I feel like it was Wales and Ireland. Wales got penalised for not feeding straight into the scrum. And it went a scrum to Ireland, and the referee stood on the other side to the put-in, and Gibson Park put it straight under the flanker's legs. So that was an absolute highlight for me of just how this game can be. I have not seen that ruled for about, when was that year that they had that real crackdown on that? 5-6+ years ago?
It might get one call a season. That's bad. Yeah, yes.
It was incredible, just out of the blue. And there wasn't another one, and all the scrums weren't fed straight. I scratched my head on that one. I really, really did. But it was almost a highlight of a bizarre weekend of rugby.
Another one I liked was Christie's yellow card, right? Because I think it was just anyway. Fijian and Drua went through a number of phases, scored the try, and the referee was like, right, try, right, you repeat offence, off you go. And so many times, repeat offence, score a try, forget about the yellow card. No, it was like, okay, now you're off, mate. Off you go. Just because they scored a try does not negate the fact that you guys will continue defending. So the yellow card's going to come out. So I think it was Christie. I could be wrong. But it felt like it. But so I was happy to see that as well. I thought that was a good call by the refs. So we do call the bad ones, and so let's call some good ones as well.
I do like how in the French game this morning too, there was a bit of almost a reasonable explanation for the Scott fans out there as well, with the try that Olivon scored, the only French try. If you haven't seen it, see it. You couldn't actually see the ball grounded in that try. It was a cluster of bodies. There was no ball. He claimed he went over the line. You couldn't see anything, but the referee said, on-field decision, try. Could you see anything to say that it wasn't a try? No. And he got awarded the try. That was instantly, it's like, had he said, I can't see the try, so I'm going to say no try, that wouldn't have been a try. And so I feel if you're a really hurt Scotsman, I know, again, France got the rub of the green twice on that one, but that perfectly explained how that law works, or that explanation for the TMO worked in two separate situations where exactly the same thing happened. Sure, you can probably see a little bit of the ball in the Scotland one, but in the way that the ref explained it, saying, I can't see it, but I don't think it, I'd say no try, to I think he scored it, I'm going to say it's a try, and how the TMO responds to that and their reaction to get a final decision. So I thought that was quite interesting for anyone who wants to really compare how the TMO works and with the on-field call at the time.
And look, and there was a lot of going, yes, congratulations, they've changed the law, because it used to be try, no try, or any reason I can't give the try. Okay, those used to be called. And there was a whole bunch of things. Yes, you're making the referee make a decision, right? And then immediately the Scotland one happens. It's like, oh, well, if he'd said, he can't say that anymore, right?
Yes.
You're winding yourself back to 4 years ago as to what the law was then, saying, oh, look, let's use that law, please, because we'd like to use that law now. Because the commentators need to remember the laws have changed and understand what the laws are. Anyone who's a professional commentator or professional pundit should go on a bloody refereeing course and have a refereeing update refresher every season. Because look, we're totally amateurs. We don't get paid for this. We thank you a lot for the donations that you guys give us, and it does help pay for things like my Sky subscription. But as an actual main source of income, well, this isn't it by a long shot. No. But we do thank you for the support you do give us, guys. So we don't have we can't justify taking a week off to go on a or whatever it is to go on a but for those guys, it's their job, their full-time job. Go take a week off, have a bloody umpire's course, and know what you're doing. Now, sure, some of them, like Grant Nesbitt, are so old they can't be running around the pitch. I understand that. So maybe don't make him do the actual physical side and the actual practical side, but at least explain the laws to him, please.
And the names.
So yes, sorry.
And the names as well, so he gets the right ones.
Yeah, look, he's been wonderful. He's been a great commentator, but that finished about 3 years ago. He's passed his sell-by date. Look, there's only about 3 or 4 bloody commentary positions in New Zealand. Give a younger guy a chance, hey? Look, like someone like me who's nearly 50, and like a young guy.
I'm on the next flight, Sky. Give me a call. I have no prior engagements.
The reviewer says the crowds aren't too bad overall. It needs to be consistent, though. It does need to be consistent, and it was patchy, right? Because the Melbourne Rebels were poor. And you got to feel a bit for the Force. They've been one of the sides that's had some of the most consistent support across this competition, and then to have that put on them was a bit was a bit out there. JK's ranting about the structure of World Rugby again. Yeah, I don't listen to JK, to be honest. Look, wonderful player, great mental health advocate, piss poor coach, and average pundit, in my opinion. Right?
He likes against the guy as
a person. I'd say wonderful. Does wonderful stuff, but some other stuff. Oh, jeez. Justin Marshall. I've got nothing against Justin Marshall. Look, at least he gets around the traps and goes to all the games. And I think he has actually worked on his profession, of which is being a pundit, which is being a caller. So I think he's actually making the effort there. So and isn't just relying on his name in the way that some other pundits are.
Yeah, I reckon. Marshall's good comments, man. I wouldn't have him as my main play-by-play, but definitely a good expert comments. Guy, definitely fill in. I'm not a fan of Mills. I'm definitely not a fan of Wheeler. I can't stand the matey mate. What American kicks our ass on sports broadcasting is their professionalism. They absolutely wipe the floor completely. I know they've got billions of people to call upon to do it, but still, it's just about their professionalism and coming across. I don't know who Jimmy G is. Okay. I don't know what you called some guy at the pub last weekend. I have no idea, nor do I care. But if I want to talk about Sam Gilbert, talk to me about Sam Gilbert. I don't care about his antics or burning couches down at the university in the weekend, right? So professionalism is pretty key for me, as well as it's keeping it fun and exciting. A commentator's job for me as well is portraying excitement. And I feel the Northern Hemisphere sometimes can lose that excitement. I think their professionalism is a lot better, but they lose out a bit on the excitement. So, everyone's got good and everyone's got bad. But, that's my take.
Cool. Well, for the 1 hour show that's taken an hour and 50, thank you very much, Cornflake. Thank you everyone for sticking with us who's the live show. Thank you for everyone who listens to the recordings and the podcast as well. We do enjoy your feedback, so let us know your thoughts. Don't bother putting it on X or what's Twitter or whatever it used to be. I don't go there anymore, but we just broadcast there. But Facebook is probably the best place to get me on that, or paul@nzsportradio.com. I do have an email address. Wow, how old school is that? So folks, stay safe. We'll see you next Monday at 8 p.m. and this weekend. Don't forget that Cornflake will be doing the live with the listeners along, and I'll try and pop along and jump on one of those or one or two of those this weekend as well. Enjoy, folks.